Well, thanks everybody for our inaugural or initial Social Security Open Forum. This, I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm excited to get this going. I was telling Gail over the weekend that about 3 years ago, another group that has advisors like I have, they have an open forum, I think every week. And I was always playing around in my mind, should I have one? Should I not? How do I get this off the ground? Well, Gail came on, Gail Jacobs came, she started with us about a year ago, back in July of 2020. And we've always been kind of talking about an open forum. I don't know, Gail, when we started to talk about it, but maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, one thing led to another. I said, well,
Mhm.
why don't we just give it a shot? And so now that we all understand how to use Zoom, I thought it would be a great idea to have bi-weekly open forums. Gail, talk a bit about who you are and what you do and where you've come from.
Okay. I don't think you mean bi-weekly. You mean bi-monthly?
No, bi-weekly. Oh,
Okay.
semi-weekly, every 2 weeks.
We'll talk about it. Anyway, so
Well, it is every
Gail,
2 weeks. We're gonna have this. Okay.
right. So it's like bi-monthly,
Yeah.
right? It's twice. Who cares? Anyway,
Yeah.
so I supervised catering staff for large events for a long time, like 12 years. And unfortunately, through the pandemic, that job was eliminated. It never came back, and at least not yet. And then I raised 5 kids and knew Mark and Jim. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a job. I could do marketing. And that here I am almost a year later. And it's been interesting because I can't say Social Security is anything I was really interested in, but it's more interesting now.
It
So
is for
anyway,
you,
it's
right,
good to see
Gail?
everybody.
Hmm.
I just try to come up with different marketing ideas and I see what sticks.
Gail was born in 1959, so she turned 862 this year.
Thank you,
Like
Mark. Yes.
a lot of your clients will be turning 862 this year. Gail, what's your full retirement age?
66 and 10 months.
April of 2026. So I'm sure
Okay.
you've noticed a lot of the clients you're meeting with do have a full retirement age of 66 and 10 months because they were born in 1959.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess what I thought, one reason why I want to have this open forum to see kind of what types of questions you may have about Social Security. But let's talk about that the revised Social Security statement. Have you all seen it?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
And what do you think about it? 2 pages now.
Simpler.
I like the
I like
earnings
it a lot
record.
better.
The earnings record
I
is
don't know
flawed.
if I can really pull it up that quickly, but it is a lot better. On the front page, you have benefits at all the ways from 862 up all the way up to 870, which is really nice. They still specify projected future earnings and dates of birth, stuff like that. And on page 2, they have information about earnings. And they've combined earnings in early years, like in 10-month intervals. But if you wanted to look at your actual earnings, you just have to log into your account to look at your actual earnings by year. I've only seen one of our clients having the new revised statement so far. How about you guys and ladies? How many of your clients have sent you their redesigned statements?
None.
Greg? No one else. Okay. Or they're rolling it out. So I'm not sure when more people are going to be seeing theirs. I logged into my account over the weekend. My statement was the normal 4-page statement. Have you logged into your accounts lately to see? Roger says yes.
I looked at mine this morning and it's the 2-page.
It is the 2-page. Congratulations, I guess. And when it came to the early years of earnings, did they kind of combine that in 10-year intervals? Okay.
Yes.
Did you notice that when you looked at the actual earnings history, not on the statement, but in your My Social Security account, that it listed all of your earnings each year?
Yeah, the old listed all of them, but this one did the first block in 10 and then it listed multiple after that.
Where the statement will list the blocks in 10 years. However, if you look at the earnings history online and outside of the statement, you should see each year because you can still look at your earnings online, just outside the statement.
Mhm.
Who else has seen their own, your own benefit statement. Here we go. Revised. All right, just Roger. Okay, Gail, have you looked at yours lately?
Not lately. No, I haven't.
Okay, great. Let's go around the squares. Tell us who you are and where you're located. I'll start with Greg.
Morning, everyone. Greg Workman, work for Kelly Financial Services out of Braintree, Massachusetts, about 20 minutes south of Boston.
And I was telling Greg that we're going to have a class in Boston, Massachusetts on September 20th of 2022.
Yeah,
And
right,
Greg
yeah.
suggested, I told him I was looking at a couple of Marriott hotels, and he said the one in Braintree is a good one.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Greg. How about Teresa?
Hi, Teresa Hutchinson. I work for Medallion Wealth Management. I am a partner, and I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And she told me she's a Pittsburgh fan.
Of course. Yeah, why not?
Craig?
Yes, financial advisor here for Gissy Investments. I'm just an independent broker and St. Louis, Missouri.
That's right, St. Louis. Thank you. We'll go to Kai.
Kai Baker in Portland, Oregon. I'm an independent financial advisor and went through Mark's Social Security class a couple months ago. Learned a lot and even chuckled a few times.
You think we pick on Harold too much, Kai?
I don't know. My neighbor's name is Harold, so it did. That's where the chuckle came from a couple times.
Gail used to work with somebody she used to work with was named Harold.
No, just somebody I know. He's a really great
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not funny at all. He was an IRS guy. He wasn't funny. But yeah.
And Kai, you said you're from Portland?
Correct. That's where I reside now. Originally from the East Coast.
Okay. Roger?
Hey, Roger Webb. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. Work with Southport Capital. And
Okay.
I've got actually a Social Security class tomorrow night I'm going to be teaching, so I'm looking forward to any new advice that's out.
Okay. How many people do you have attending, and how did you get people to attend?
Direct mailer, and of course, promoting it on the radio show.
Okay.
So,
What radio show?
yeah, I've got a local radio show I do every Saturday morning on our local talk radio.
570, right?
Yes, 570. Been doing it for about 9-10 years now.
Okay. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Ty Tara?
Hi, my name's Tara Stansrud. I'm a partner and CPA at Yo and Yo, and I reside in Midland, Michigan.
Where's Midland?
Pretty much right in the middle, close to Bay City, a little to the east.
Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you. Hi, Brian.
How are you? Brian Doherty. My firm's called PLC Financial Solutions. I'm an independent financial advisor it's in Fort Washington, PA, my office, but I live in Philadelphia, PA.
Thank you, Brian. And we'll go to Mark Perry. Hi, Mark. Oh, well. Mike, I'll get to you. You're next. Mark, go for it, buddy. All right, we'll go to Michael.
Hi, Michael Clannon, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Safe Money Solutions. I'm independent.
Okay, you were saying you're in Atlanta. Thank you. Thank you. Brad. Oh, the squares changed. I don't know who I've gone to. Hey,
Good
Brad.
morning, Mark. How are you? Brad here.
Good, thanks.
I am in Bakersfield, California. I'm an RIA. My firm is Intruity Wealth. And we custody at Schwab, but we're a hybrid. So we have a broker-dealer relationship with PKS and family firm. That's a little bit about us.
Hey, does
Oh,
Schwab
and-
allow? Hey,
And
Brad.
Mark's been very
Brad.
helpful on helping me get smarter about Social Security.
I'm glad. Hey, Brad, does Schwab allow you to buy Bitcoin types of investments?
No.
Okay.
But my broker dealer has a product put together by the Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, with a Sky. What is it? Sky. I forget the name of it, but you can buy Bitcoin in a trust and they custody for it.
That's First Trust, Unit Investment Trust. They just released it.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
anybody
thanks,
can get
guys.
into it. Anybody can buy it. And it's not Bitcoin. It's not the actual coin that they're
Right.
going after. It's got blockchain and such. So you might want to look at the.
So it's a public, so First Trust, the public, this, as I understand it, this is a private placement.
Okay.
You know, $50,000 minimum and you buy Bitcoin and they custody at a custodian.
Okay.
So-
Okay, we need to move on. Thanks, guys. Brian McCloskey?
I echo what Mark just said. Mark's been a terrific resource for Social Security. I'm up here. I'm up just outside of Philadelphia as well, born and raised in Philly, but I'm on the west side, Chester County, independent RIA. Do both insurance and market-based work.
Okay.
And Social Security timing has been extremely helpful. I want to roll out more marketing for it though, so I'm hoping we're going to chat about that as the weeks go on.
Yeah, we definitely will. Yeah, Brian. See, Mark Perry?
I'm trying to get there.
Okay, well, I'll move on. Gary?
Yes, Gary Flaxbeard out of Omaha, Nebraska. I'm an
Okay.
independent insurance agent and work with a lot of Medicare folks, and they're always asking about Social Security. So I just jumped on your online webinar class schedule a couple weeks ago. So glad to be aboard.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Eric Scott?
Yeah, I'm independent. I have my own company called Eric Scott Financial, and the information you provide has been unbelievable. It's been very helpful. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. I always like to be patted on the back. It always makes me feel good. I'm starting to kind of bend over here with all the accolades. I'm
You're doing a
gonna,
good job.
I'll be stooping over my desk in a few minutes. Thanks, Eric.
Yep.
David Noble.
Good morning. I'm David Noble, and my wife and I own Great Life Planning, Great Life Insurance, Great Life Investing from Olalla, Washington, across the bay from Seattle.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Justin Rutar.
Hi, I'm Justin, independent financial advisor based out of Maple Grove, Minnesota.
Maple. Okay, thank you. Just writing notes here, folks. Okay, we'll go to Bobby.
My name is Bobby Stewart. I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I have both an elder law firm in the state of South Carolina, and I have a company called Medical Claims RX based in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. We specialize in Medicare planning and long-term care planning, and have enjoyed getting more familiar with Social Security since many of our clients ask about it every time we chat. So appreciate all your help, Mark.
Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate you. You haven't been with us long, have you?
No, I did the on-demand class and licensing this spring, and yeah, so I'm a newbie.
Okay, great. Thanks. But I know not a newbie is my last person to talk to, Sherry Hughes. You've been with us for a while.
Yes, since 2016. I have a company called Social Security IQ in Dallas, Texas, and I have 30 years in financial services. But what I'm doing now is I'm actually focusing on Social Security reports for advisors.
And you've been with us, you said 5 years. Thank you,
Yes.
Sherry. Where
Thank you.
are you located?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Got it. Okay, great. Okay, thanks, everybody. I don't think I missed anybody. Okay, so that was the easy part, kind of going around the room. I know that took a while, but it's always nice to know who's on our webinars and on our Zooms. So kind of, this is an open forum. Let's open it up and let's just talk Social Security. How sexy is that?
Try to stump the boss.
So go ahead, Greg. Let's just talk and see where we go with this type of open forum.
Yeah, I'd love some guidance on how to best approach the topic with people that are divorced. So, whether it's amicable, not amicable, access to earnings records, how do you best counsel that person who may be the low earner in the equation? to,
Well, it's
what's in their
amazing
best
how many
interest.
phone call. Yeah, Greg and everybody. I get lots of phone calls from divorced individuals. It happens all the time. And I just start off easy. Their names. I ask how they found out about us. I ask them when they were born, get their birth dates, just to see if that restricted application is something that might be on the table. I ask how long they've been married. I probably ask that question first, how long they're married. And most of the time, it's way over 10 years, most of the time, but not all the time. And if they think they're close to that 10-year period, I ask to, I tell them to send us a copy of their divorce decree. Of course, we're going to look at the date stamped on that divorce decree, right? To determine if they met the 10-year rule. That's our Lee story, Lee. He called me up about, it changes all the time because I don't remember when I talked to
It was
Lee.
within
Let's
the
say-
past, it was past year. It was just.
Yeah, 6 months ago. And I asked him a few questions. I asked him, first of all, when he was born, 1953. So just based on that, I knew one thing, right? What did I know? That he could
Restricted
file that what?
Application.
Restricted application. And then I asked him, how long was he married? And he told me, because we talked about the 10-year rule. He said he signed the divorce decree 9 years, 9 months of marriage. And he didn't think he met the 10-year rule. But he also remembers that it might have taken the judge a little while to get that thing filed. And so I told him to send us the divorce decree. And he did. Jim Blair looked at it. Jim was able to determine he met the 10-year rule. So a couple things happening with this guy. He was able to file for benefits off his wife, a restricted app. And since he was over full retirement age, what else was he able to do? What can people do after they reach full retirement age? Go back how many months?
6 months.
6 months.
6, yeah.
6 months.
Yep.
So you got a nice lump sum check for 6 months. And Greg, to answer a little more of what you were talking about, how do we get information off the ex-spouse? You need to contact Social Security. They're going to want a copy of your divorce decree to make sure you were married for 6 months. No, 10 years. Sorry, 10 years. And they'll give you the information. Just ask them what you can get off of your ex-spouse. Sometimes they give you a little of a fit. They don't always want to give that information, but they need to. It's required.
Mark, this
Greg,
is
does that
Sherry.
answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Sherry?
Yes, if I could just ask, if your ex-spouse has passed away and you want to recreate the PIA for calculation purposes, you can actually in writing request the earnings history for the deceased ex-spouse. There's a form to do that, right?
No, I don't think
But
you
you
can get the
can't-
earnings of a deceased ex-spouse. They're not going to give that to you. Yeah, that's pretty personal information. Just contact Social Security and ask them what your death PIA is that you're eligible for.
Right.
And they're going to want to see the
Um,
divorce decree again, but they're not going to give you the earnings history.
Okay, so the ex-spouse can't get the earnings history in any situation.
No. You can only get the amount of benefit you're eligible for off of your living ex-spouse or deceased ex-spouse.
Okay, and is that best done with a phone call?
Yeah, you can't really go down to Social Security yet anyways. Yeah, they've been closed
As
since March
opposed to in
17th.
writing?
Yeah, you
do you think
you can request it in writing, but I'd call them.
Yeah, and also
Okay.
Mark, because I had that situation, divorce, an ex-husband passed away within the past year. I also had to send the death certificate as well.
Mhm.
That had
Good
to,
point.
you got to send that, yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
But if you communicate with them initially just through a letter, Sherry, you never know where that letter's going to go. If it's going to be looked at,
Mhm.
going to end up on somebody's desk, never to be seen again. Give them a call. Makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Next. How many of you are still looking at the restricted application for your clients? How many of your clients do you think can still file restricted apps? Come on. This is just, this is
Zero,
interactive.
zero.
It's an open forum. Let's get the open going.
Restricted
say,
application, January 1st, 1954. Well, there's the date right there. So
Yeah, I've been contemplating putting out advertisements that kind of link to a quiz that will pull people in who are 67, 68, 69. And kind of walk them through a couple questions to get them interested,
Okay.
because I don't have any current clients that don't have a plan. Like either they already have restricted, or they have a plan on when they're going to over the next year or so. But I just know that I keep stumbling across people that aren't being talked to about this stuff, and I just need to figure out a better way to get in front of them. So outside of, I haven't done events in a year and a half. I should say about a year. And I'm moving more towards, some on-demand webinar type stuff. And I was just thinking if anybody has any success with marketing to folks that might be missing out on this, I would love to hear it, because I'm about to construct it. Because I think we have about 2.5 year window to find these
The end
folks.
of 2023, Brian, is going to be the end of using that
2.5 year
restricted
window.
application.
Right.
But with every passing month, that percentage just continues to come down. However, though, it has to be in your Social Security tool chest. There's no doubt about it. And if you're not asking for your clients' date of births, if you're just sitting in front with them in the conference room, then you're not going to at all talk about that restricted application. It's about 40%, but believe me, folks, it is winding down. There's no doubt. I did talk to an advisor not long ago that he said almost none of his clients are able to follow a restricted app. Not sure why, but he should be able to. There's a question from Brian. Are there some folks on this webinar that are not financial agents or advisors that just provide Social Security advice for a fee? Okay.
Oh,
anybody on this phone call, on the Zoom? Okay. I don't want to call it a webinar. I like to call it a Zoom. It sounds more exciting. Anybody on this Zoom that is not selling products, just providing Social Security consulting for a fee besides my firm? Okay.
This
So
is
Brian, that
Sherry. I'm
answers the
doing
question. Everybody is selling additional products, financial, insurance, so forth and so on. All right, let's talk about different options that folks have. And let's talk about situational social security. How often do you talk to your clients about different types of situations? Do you ever use the term situational social security when meeting with a client? Because there are 76 million baby boomers out there, right? And don't they all have their own situations? Every one of them? And I remember talking, we had the coffee with Mark, thanks to, of course, Gail Jacobs. And one of the advisors that we talked to said he uses that phrase all the time when he talks to advisors, situational social security, to drive home the point that every one of his or her clients is in a different and unique situation. So he wants the client to feel like his or her options will be different from anyone else that he or she that the advisor talks with. And that definitely makes sense.
And also don't married couples have more options? I'm just going to throw like 13, it's like they have like 13 different options, but divorced people don't have as many options.
Well, let me just say this. The number of options is a function of who you talk to. I talk to people, they say, advisors say or I read something that says married couples might have 600 options. I don't know where you come up with that. But more or less, it's kind of like 10 to 15. That's kind of what we look at. Yeah. We look at benefits at different ages, anywhere from 62 to 70. We throw in the restricted application if we can. Social Security 567, who is a white glove workshop, that's the marketing they do. They say that married couples have 567 options. I don't know. What do you guys think? How many options do you guys talk to your clients about when you run a report?
There are some reports that show, I had software that show, hundreds of options in terms of just like every age possible scenario, which ones are actually viable. That's different, but and they will show you the optimal one. So I think from a mathematical point of view, there might be some truth to what they're saying, but like literally 98% of them are not viable options. So I don't know, if that makes.
I'll throw my 2 cents into it. It's how you define the word options. It's
Okay.
if you define the word options as his, hers, spouse, restrict, then you can keep that in a container, and then, say that there's different timing that you can, elect those different options, because that's where you get into the 500 plus or whatever, because they're saying this month, that month, every year has 12 months, blah, blah, blah. I think it's our job to simplify it for clients, right? And just tell them that there's a crap ton of stuff out there and we can simplify it. Yeah.
Talking about software, what software are you all using? I'd like to know. I got my paper.
My broker dealer is First Clearing, which is the brokerage arm of Wells Fargo, and they have a tool in their tool chest.
Eric, Brad, is it a robust tool? Speak up a little bit, please. Is it a robust tool?
If you're asking me, Mark,
no.
we use Right Capital, and it's pretty robust.
What's the name?
Right Capital.
RIGHT?
Yeah, RIGHT, Right Capital.
Okay.
And it's really kind of a comprehensive planning platform. It gives you a probability of how you want to retire based on your goals, and you can add all kinds of goals in there. And it's really a great tool, and you can give the clients access to it on their phone.
Okay.
Which is kind of a handy thing. So
well, then what I'm going to do,
they can keep track of all
an
their
app.
stuff.
Very good. Thank you, Brad. So what I'm going to ask each and every one of you what software you use. So no one's going to get out of answering this question. Greg, I'll start with you.
Yeah, we part of the Zoom meeting, you and I talked a little bit about Kotlikoff.
Yes.
So I'm using his maximizemysocialsecurity.com.
And
then our planning software is Retirement Analyzer. So I'm using a combination of the two. The Kotlikoff software kind of points me in the right direction, gives me the input for the Retirement Analyzer.
So, I hear pros and cons, of course, about all software. What I hear about Larry sometimes is that he's not quick on getting back to you when you have questions. Is that correct, Greg, or is he better now?
It's not Larry direct that's responded to me, and I have had several inquiries since I've used the software.
Okay.
It's been within 24 hours.
Very good. And what is the cost of his software?
The advisor subscription is $250 annual.
Pretty reasonable.
Yes.
You happy with it?
Yeah, so far. I've actually, I had someone that received a refund letter because WEP kicked in after they retired.
Okay.
And the Kotlikoff software came within $8.
Very good. Thank you, Greg.
So I think it's pretty good.
Let's go to Teresa. Eric?
Yeah, could he spell the name of the software, people?
Maximize My Social Security.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Teresa. What software do you use?
Guide Pro.
I didn't hear that.
Money Guide Pro.
Oh, Money Guide Pro. I heard that. Okay.
It's financial planning software. That's what our firm has invested in, and that's what we use.
Do you like it?
It's,
okay.
I mean, it does a multitude of things. And since the 7 advisors in this firm all use it, it has to be more comprehensive for everyone's use. So that's the one that was analyzed among several others and what was chosen for the firm.
Okay. Thanks, Teresa. Craig, what software do you use?
I use a proprietary tool based on my broker dealer through the channel of the Wells Fargo, their brokerage division.
Oh, yeah. Is the other one that mentioned that before? Okay. And are you happy with that software?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. Does it take into account the restricted app?
Yes, it will,
Very, okay.
based on the age. Right.
Roger, who looks so relaxed in your big chair.
I use SS Analyzer.
Okay. They're located in Overland Park, Kansas, or Missouri, one of the two. And what do you think about that software?
I like it. It's easy for the clients to understand. It produces a great report that is marketed to me and my
Okay.
firm. It's very user friendly. And what I like, when we went through the big updates, the big one that happened in 2016 with the file and suspend and all that stuff, all of my clients' database was updated. So I was easy to contact the clients that we had a plan in place that's now not going to be viable. And here's your updated plan. They're really good at keeping our cloud-based clients' data up to date with the current rules.
Okay. And I know they have really good support. Have you seen that?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it. So Roger uses Social Security Analyzer, developed by Social Security Solutions in Overland Park, Kansas, a suburb of Kansas City, the southern part of Kansas City. Tara, what do you use?
I use that social security timing, but I think they've changed their name. And then,
Covism.
yeah, Covisa. Yep.
Yeah. Overland, not Overland Park, Omaha, Nebraska. And Tara, do you like that software? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. Similar to the one that Roger mentioned before. Like it creates the custom reports and the options. It's pretty user friendly. It saves the data, so it's easy to go back in. So yeah,
Okay.
I like it.
Thank you, Tara. Now, Brian McCloskey, I think you told us already what software you like, right?
I use, not this morning, but I use Covisum as well. Social Security timing.
And what are your thoughts?
I think it's very robust. I do always peek at the other ones that are out there because I think their reports are a little bit more, sexy, but it's a very powerful tool.
Thank you, Brian. The other Brian Doherty.
I've used a few over the years. When I was doing Social Security seminars, which I haven't been in the last, I think, year and a half, I was more actively using some software because people were specifically coming for that. But since I haven't been, I really just use Covisum's Money Tree Silver actually has a not very robust program that just gives the best timing, doesn't get into restricted applications and whatnot, but it gives you the best optimal scenario. And that's all I kind of been really needing for what I've been doing. But I've used social Maximize My Social Security. I like that one a lot.
Okay.
And I've used Social Security timing as well. Analyzer sounds familiar, but I don't know. But both of them I thought were good. I like Maximize My Social. If I need it again, I'll go back to that one.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate your thoughts on that. Okay. Christopher came on. Christopher, I muted you because I heard some background noise. Do you want to unmute yourself and talk about the software that you use? Unmute yourself, Christopher.
I'm sorry. I got some noise in the background. I won't be able to speak right now.
Okay, fair enough. That's okay. Brad Barnes, what software do you use? Mark Perry, what software do you use?
Right Capital, Mark. Brad Barnes, Right Capital.
Oh, right, Cal, you're the guy. Okay, thank you very much. Your square moved on me, Mark. I'm kind of hesitant now to ask Kai. Have you told us what software that you use?
I haven't, but this is really illuminating because I've been looking at the different options out there. So thanks everybody for sharing your different insights on what you like and what you like about it.
Okay, fair enough. Do you do consulting for clients or do you just answer questions?
It's really primarily insurance and annuity based. So the Social Security component, as far as being more of an advisor, like I said, I went through your program a couple months ago,
Okay.
and like someone else mentioned, it seems like there's an opportunity to reach out to a certain age demographic that might be coming up on the restricted app timing to really use that as a way to expand your client base.
Okay. Thanks, Akai. Appreciate it. I will go to Michael. Michael Clanen. What are your thoughts?
Yep. In the past, I did use Social Security timing. So this was probably my biggest priority since I just went through the certification, and that was to find, because I know you said you don't recommend things, on the so I'm probably looking at the Social Security timing again. So because I do have some experience with that in the past. So, but it is interesting to see what other people are using.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Michael, good point. I get a phone call probably 2-3 times a week. What software do we recommend? And you're right, we don't recommend one. There are several really good ones out there. If we recommended one, two things would be happening. We'd be getting paid behind the scenes. And number two, you would think that we're smart enough to analyze a software package and say that package A is better than package B. I'm not smart enough to do that. I know my limitations in life. That's one of them. Let's go to Gary. What do you use?
At this point, I haven't used brand new at this. I just answer a lot of questions for the Medicare folks. But I do want to, delve into it and get set up with one in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. Eric, did you tell us about your software?
I've used in the past Social Security Solutions, and I let it expire because I wanted to look at new ones. So this has been really helpful.
What are you using any now?
I'm not using any now. I'm in the middle of trying to find one that I think might be better.
Okay, thanks. Social Security Solutions is similar to it owns and develops Social Security Analyzer. So it's the same company.
Right.
Justin Rutter, I think you're the last one. What are you using?
Someone else mentioned Money Guide Pro. I also use that comprehensive software.
Okay. So, and how do you like that one, Justin?
I think it does a pretty good job for what I do. I do comprehensive planning with all my clients. So, it just ties it into the conversation.
So basically, when we teach our class, we go over, we really don't go any software in detail. That just take too long. We mentioned that the fact that our advisors tend to use Social Security Timing, Social Security Analyzer, and Social Security Pro. They all have their pros and cons. That the annual fee can range anywhere from like $250 a year to maybe $1,200 a year, just depending on how many you want to do. So and what level of software that you want to purchase. And we also know about Money Guide Pro. We also know that Horse's Mouth has a software package. I'm surprised none of you mentioned Horse's Mouth, but I know they have one too. Okay, let's continue our discussion. I want to go back to questions you guys have. Do you want me to go? I know you guys have some Social Security questions you'd like to ask. I can go around the room. Greg wanted to talk about divorce folks, so we went to you. Teresa, any software, any Social Security questions you'd like to ask?
I don't have any specific questions to ask at this point.
Okay, thank you. Craig?
I'd just like to know what recent changes have occurred in the last year, let's say.
Basically, COLA adjustment changes have occurred over the last year. FICA wage base is 142.8 nowadays. Inflation adjustment this past year, 1.3%. We're expecting inflation of about 4 to 5% effective in December of 2021. And that check will be received in January 2022. The amount of earnings to acquire one credit is now $1,470. So that went up from 2020 to 2021. So basically, Craig, just call adjusted figures, nothing more than that. Were you thinking there might have been some other types of changes along the way that you want me to address?
Well, I kind of been out of the loop with it for the most part. I mean, matter of fact, I was just telling you that I use proprietary software, but I opened it up and at the bottom, it says Social Security timing. So I guess they have an agreement with them that's providing. So that's the tool I'm using. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah, you know,
That-
so I do run that and talk to clients about what their what the opportunities are or what decisions they need to make based on
Okay.
choosing Social Security at a younger age, or maybe one spouse takes it and the other holds off or whatever. So
Yeah.
just trying to get back into it and understand.
Yeah,
the
let's
services.
talk about that. Let's talk about spousal benefits for a little bit, Craig. I'm glad you brought that up. A really huge factor in when to begin benefits is the payment of a spousal benefit. And we all know, I'm just going to assume the wife is younger and has less earnings. For her to collect a spousal benefit off the husband, he must be receiving a benefit, right? He must be receiving what type of benefits? We have two types he could be receiving. What are they?
Worker benefit.
Retirement, no doubt,
Ability.
and disability. So the husband can be 55 years of age collecting a disability. As long as the wife is age 62, she can collect the spousal benefit off his work record. So does the higher income earner, I'm just going to assume for now that that's the husband, does he claim at 66 so the wife can collect the spousal at that point? Does he wait to age 70, maximizing his DRCs, but then that delays the payment to his wife for spousal benefit? And what if we throw in a kid or two? In that case, if he waits to age 70, now we're delaying the payment to a child. And a child at that point may age out. What's the age for a child to collect a child's benefit?
18 and 19.
Not 16.
No, 18.
Oh, you said 18. Yeah, go
Yeah,
yeah.
18 and 19.
and single. So long as the child is single up to age 18. Once he or she reaches 18, then we look at the child being in high school. If in high school for one more year, benefits will continue up to age 19 or when that child is out of high school. So the payment of a spousal benefit is a huge factor. And so many people don't realize that the spousal benefit isn't payable until the other spouse begins benefits. Under old law, and Craig, I'm going to say this for your benefit, under old law back in 2015, that is, a husband can claim and suspend or file and suspend. The wife can then file for a spousal benefit while he's in the suspension mode. But you can't do that anymore, can you? And for what reason? What applies when you file for benefits? It's two words.
Deemed filing.
Brian, deemed filing. Deemed filing says that when you file for benefits, you're going to get paid off of any work history you're eligible for. That could be could be your own, and then it could be that spousal boost at the same time. How do we calculate that spousal boost? Any thoughts?
Question.
I guess I'm just asking questions now, which is fine. I don't need to put people on the spot, even though I think that's kind of fun. How do you compute that spousal boost?
That's a good question.
Take the what?
Well, it's all about like taking what they're currently receiving,
No,
which is possible.
Not receiving. PIA. You take the
Okay.
higher
PIA
earners,
less.
half the high earners PIA, reduce that by the lower earners PIA, and that's the boost. So let's say my wife and I were married. Let's say my PIA is 2,000. Half of that is 1,000. Let's say her PIA is 750. So she gets 250 off my work record. She'll get her 750 and then 250 off of me for a total of $1,000.
Assuming
At
they're
full
both at full
retirement age.
retirement age, right?
At full retirement age.
Let's
So
stay here in the spousal boost section for a moment.
Sure.
I'm glad you brought it up because I've come
Here.
across it. I've heard you present it a couple times, and I'm just kind of like thinking like, other than it being just the way that they calculate the spousal on top of their PIA, is there ever a benefit to where like, you know, they took their own at 62 reduced, but they don't turn on their spousal until their full retirement age because that's when their husband I'm just saying husband in this case, the other spouse takes it and that part's not reduced. Is there ever like a benefit to the spousal boost, or is it just us knowing how the calculation works?
Well, the
That question
spousal
makes any
boost,
sense.
okay, of course, we do know comes into play when the other spouse begins their benefits. So a wife takes her benefit early at age 62, she'll take a 25% haircut. When it's just an example. Let's say her husband turns his benefits on when she turns full retirement age. That's when she's eligible for that spousal boost. And then she gets that on top of her own individual benefit, which has already been reduced. Here, let me
Right.
get
So
that.
right there. So would that mean that the spousal portion, and I apologize if people know this already, but does
No.
that mean the spousal portion is not reduced because it was turned on at full retirement age?
No,
Or is it?
Yeah, here, let's do this. I got it. No, we're good. It's always good to go over stuff, folks. I'm not concerned about it. Here we go. So you can all see my slide, right?
Yes.
So this slide has to do with Mary. She began her own benefits at age 62. She collected $750. When Paul turned his benefits on, Mary was at her full retirement age. So she's going to collect her $750 plus $250 off his work record. That's the spousal boost. And then she gets a total of $1,000. So since she took her benefits early, she'll never get 50% of Paul's PIA. It's going to always be reduced. But that's not always a bad thing, though. She's bringing money into the household at her age 62. That might allow Paul to wait until his full retirement age or age 70 to collect his benefit. And then if he was born by that magic birth date of Gail,
January 1st, 1954.
he can file a restricted application to boot and get a spousal benefit while his own benefits are growing before those delayed retirement credits.
Forgive my analytical engineer brain. So what I'm reading though here is that the boost, the spousal, since it occurs at their full retirement age, is not reduced
in this case.
As it
But
came later.
In this case here, though, folks, it is reduced. Mary becomes eligible for her own benefit and the spousal boost when she files at age 63. That's because Paul was already receiving his benefit when she filed. So the boost of 150 is reduced down to 112. And now she just gets 992. I think your name is Brian, right? So Brian, It does make sense sometimes for the wife to take her benefits early. It'll be reduced for age.
Oh, totally.
But yet it brings money into the household. But yet when she turns on her spousal boost at her full retirement age, now she gets a full spousal boost. And she won't get half of husband's PIA, but at least she'll, time value of money is on the side of getting money earlier, right?
But this is helpful because I've always kind of wondered, and that's why I was questioning, like, is the reduction only happening on one portion depending on their age?
Yeah.
Now I can recognize the value of a word boost. Like in the past, it was just like, I thought it was just a calculation, but now I can recognize there's a value to the boost if the boost portion is not reduced based on age, so
yeah, you're right.
This kind of speaks to a split strategy.
It's a split. So you just need to remember a spouse is eligible for their own benefit and possibly a spousal boost. And the calculations are different. You get paid you get payment just depending on when you apply and when you're eligible for either benefit. Okay. I'm going to stop the sharing my screen because I can see everybody else. Okay. Good question, Brian. I appreciate that. So the spousal boost is a very important concept. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Let's talk about, I have so many things I can talk about. Let's talk about the annual earnings test. Well, raise your hand if you have any direction you'd like me to go. This is our first open forum, so I don't really know where to go with it, but I can talk easy for 8 hours. No doubt about that. And any other direction you'd like me to go? Oh, Christopher, go for it, buddy.
Yes, sir. My question is this, as it relates to the earnings test. Got someone that has started drawing Social Security at 62 and they've gone back to work part-time and they've got the part-time job they have has a 401k. So does the earnings test relate to the full gross amount, or would that amount like minus the 401k because it's not taxed? You see what I mean? Because if it
I know what you
was, it would
mean.
put them above that. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Christopher, take a guess, Christopher. What do you think it is?
I'm thinking it's the gross.
Yeah,
Because it's
you got it
being
right.
reported to Social Security, even though it's not being taxed federally. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
it's the gross. So that's what I told them, but I wanted to be for sure.
You're right, gross. Box 3 of your W-2.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question, please. Tara, I know you have a question you'd like to ask. Go for it.
I wish I did. I don't do as much planning being a CPA. I mean, this is just kind of stuff I do, you know.
Okay.
But I don't. But I'm here to learn. So
That's fine. Okay. Hey, let's talk about delayed. Oh, Greg, go for it.
So I got a quick question. It's I feel like I'm asking a lot of questions about how to guide these conversations.
Hey, Greg, you're keeping me awake by asking questions. I could be falling asleep right now.
So this question is related to how do you guide the conversation around life expectancy while keeping it realistic and at the same time not skewing your Social Security maximization to, you know, just kind of being easy, like, hey, delay it as long as possible.
Well, you know, it's not a matter of delaying it as long as possible, because, you know, you don't necessarily want the wife to always want to delay her benefits to full retirement age or age 70. There's a good reason many times for her to take her benefit at age 62. And there's always many times a good reason for a husband to claim somewhere between full retirement age and age 70 to begin a spousal benefit. So it's not always just waiting to age 70. However, though, we use the Social Security actuarial tables. That's what we use. And I don't do consultations with folks, with our clients, folks. I don't know how Jim addresses it, because nobody wants to pay for my advice. They want to pay for Jim's advice. He worked for Social Security for 35 years. But Jim will start with the actuarial table. And when he's meeting with the client and they want us to adjust the death ages, we'll adjust it. But, it's really difficult to start playing around with death ages. It is. We all know you have no idea. And Social Security is a joint lifetime benefit primarily. Upon the passing of the husband, the wife will generally step in his shoes. If he takes benefits early, that haircut, reduction. Not everyone likes to use me to use the word haircut. Anyway, yeah, right, Greg. Anyway,
Right. Yes.
So that reduction will last 2 lifetimes, possibly. If he or she waits till age 70, that increase may last 2 lifetimes. And so just playing around with those mortality tables really does scare me. What do you
There's early on, we would take our clients through an exercise, and there's some tools online that ask some really personal questions about your weight and your lifestyle habits and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And it'll actually kind of give you a prediction when you're going to live and how many years you're going to be, how many years are going to be difficult. And it was just kind of a pain to do that. And so we just plug in 90.
90?
And if they want to change,
seems to be a pretty aggressive age.
Yeah,
Overly optimistic.
Thanks. I was going to say the same thing.
If they want to change it, then we can change it. But we use 90.
90 for both spouses, Brad?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
I don't think I think that's sort of, just looking at my family, my dad's 89, mom's 87. I have an aunt turning 93. I had one aunt that lived, she just passed before she turned 100. So I don't think 90 is aggressive. I think it's a good ballpark to be in.
So Mark, when you say aggressive, you don't think people can make it till 90?
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that.
Well, what's
the average is
it's kind of out there a little bit. That's all. I look at the obituary section pretty much regularly. I do see people passing away in their 90s. There's no doubt, but it's not that many. So,
well, I think that typically our clientele is more affluent and they have access to
Okay,
good
true.
care, and they don't, they don't have a lot of stress in their life, and they have good nutrition. So
Concierge doctors.
I mean,
Yeah.
our kind of group is probably got the best life expectancy on the planet.
Mhm.
That's
Minus that filet mignon.
All right, let's talk. Let's talk about this person, Gail.
Oh my, yeah, Ethel, I knew you were gonna say that. Okay, so so that's Ethel, and she is turning very shortly 107. She is in really good shape for her age, just missing a lot of teeth, but that's about it. And she's one of my best friend's mother-in-laws. So the picture on the left, which Mark likes better, was taken a year ago. And then the picture on the right, which I like better because it was her first after COVID haircut, when she was able to go out. She felt safe enough to do that. And she got her first haircut in like a year and a half. And I like that picture because she made it,
Yeah. So
107.
I would not plug in 106 or 107 in your software though, Brad.
Oh,
I won't
right.
do
Well,
that.
that's, yeah.
But
Yeah.
and using 90, I think that's just a little aggressive. My personal feeling. But yet, everyone has a different theory on what death age to use.
Hey,
What is an age that you feel comfortable with, Mark?
Just whatever the mortality tables give us.
The
I'm
IRS
not God.
mortality tables?
The Social Security actuarial tables or mortality tables, whatever they give us, is what we'd use.
Okay.
Because this is way too many factors.
Mark, this is Craig Gissy. I want to put some input here. I use age 100 just for the simple fact that I want to be conservative, and the number one concern for retirees is that they don't outlive their money. So if I use age 100 and get the probabilities that they're going to have money and or for estate planning or what have you, then I feel as though I'm being giving them better probabilities of not outliving their money than trying to guess that they're going to die at 87 or 90.
Okay. I appreciate that.
I'll add on top of Craig, just opinion. Two things. As I understand the longevity tables, we have I could be slightly off with this, but we have roughly a 50% chance of making it to that age. But once you make it to that age, now you have a 50% chance of living like another 6 years. And if you make it to that age, you have another 50% chance of living a couple more years. There's a tool that I use just in some software I had from a long time called Truth Concepts, where he has a longevity. He uses the actuarial tables. And if I get this deep with a client, I can show them, hey, if you make it to 84, now that you're 84, if you're in good health, you have a darn good chance of making it to 89. And now that you're 89 in good health, you have a darn good chance making it to 93. Plus you get into if they're married, there's a 50% chance from some of the data of them going to 92, 93. So I definitely skew on the longer side, even though I love the situational language, situationally dependent. However, I will say this too, like I've had conversations with clients using some of the Covisum software that just because the delay to 70 shows us that at age 85, that's the winner. It's only a winner by like $1,000 or $2 at age 85, right? So there could be a conversation about taking a little bit earlier. Really, it only becomes a sizable winner, so to speak, if one of them does go long. So I'm sure I just wanted to share my 2 cents there about wanting to worry about longevity on behalf of clients as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this is Craig again, and I have a question. Those mortality tables, is that based on the current death rates, or is that considering 20 years from now? Because if
I don't have
planning,
I don't know what their assumptions are, Craig.
because if I'm
I don't know.
planning for retirement and they're going to be retired for 25, 30 years, well, the mortality rates is going to be higher at that point in time than they are today, right?
I'm sure I'm sure they're based on today, which kind of would make sense to me.
So if I'm considering a person retiring for 30 years, then I need to seriously consider that the mortality rates are going to be ages will be much higher. Because
The
Well,
one
it's
thing I wanted
true.
to kind of put in there, and maybe Mark, because you kind of do it more in a vacuum, because if you're dealing mainly with talking about Social Security versus someone's complete financial plan and how all the parts fit together best, which I can certainly see in Social Security, in a vacuum best option, sort of say what's going to get you the most out, may not, from what I've seen, be the best scenario when you have all the parts put together. And so in that situation, for me, I always am set up to discuss, whatever that each of the different softwares kick out just slightly different mortality ages, and for whatever reason, and then I'll pick the one that I think is. I usually pick 82 and 85 for for a male 82 and 85. That's what I usually pick, right? But I'm prepared in that scenario to discuss what I'll tell my clients is I want to see it go to age 100 not because I think you're going to live to age 100, because we know the odds are drastically against that. What we want to know is how much fat is built into this portfolio, because I don't know how long you're going to live, and neither do you, but if you do, you want to make sure it still lasts, right? So, but I know that, Mark, I've gotten into this. That's why I was curious too about, like, if anybody's advising about Social Security in a vacuum, so to say, because I can see that you could advise at a much different age in terms of what's really optimal for Social Security versus what would kind of be optimal for them, maybe in general, what their whole financial situation is. But you might be dealing with people who only have Social Security a lot of times. So in that scenario, that would probably be more viable.
Hey, folks, we're at the 11 o'clock. I just wanted to keep this one going to 11. Do you think I should have these for should they be an hour and a half long? Are you comfortable with an hour? What's your consensus on that?
Well, Mark, this is Craig
Hour's good.
Gissy. I just would like to say, thank you for doing this, because this is great. But maybe we should have an agenda, because you're right. We could talk about this for 3 hours. And
Craig, I was thinking about that. I think what I'm going to do, one second. I think what I'm going to do in future ones is have 3 or 4 topics I know I'm going to talk about. And one topic will be go around the room and have you ask me specific questions. Tara says an hour is good for you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I will have an agenda. First one, I didn't know for sure how to proceed. And you're right. And of course, the open forum can go in any direction with any questions you guys ask. Kind of my initial thinking was, you just ask me questions for an hour and I'll answer them all. But it didn't go that way.
So Mark, how many topics come up again and again and again? Is it just like 10 ideas?
Earnings test, spousal benefits, divorced folks, surviving spouses, all the common stuff come up all the time.
Can you do like just a couple of those every time we meet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark.
Yes.
Can we do
I got to talk up, Teresa.
Can we do a situational one where there's a larger age gap between the spouses and claiming strategies for that?
Yeah, we'll talk about Andrew and Leanne next time. 24-year age difference. That wide enough?
It doesn't have to be 24 years, even 10.
Okay, we'll talk about that. I'll pick specific situational Social Security topics to talk about and some other stuff, and that can all change with what's on your mind too at the same time.
We could talk about my friend Kim, who was 26 when she married her 69-year-old husband, but yeah, it's a story for another day. But I think an hour is good. I have taken many notes, so we'll discuss that. But also, Mark, talk about LinkedIn and connecting, if you don't mind.
You talk about it, Gail.
So when I started working with Mark, I was making phone call after phone call and to different organizations. And there's always that gatekeeper, and they're really hard to get through. So I thought, I'm going to work through LinkedIn. You know, it's a business networking system. You know, I can work, you know, city by city, state by state, you know, financial advisors, insurance types, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we're close to 6,000 people, but we would love if you would connect with Mark Kiner, because we post videos and, you know, stuff about this and different, you know, business opportunities and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, just go to your LinkedIn page, type in my name, Mark with a C, Kiner, Kiner. Send me a connection request and I will accept. Okay, everybody, this ends today's open forum. Thank you so much. And we'll have our next one in 2 weeks, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Use the same link. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.